Good evening. It's 7 o'clock p.m., and today is Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. This is a hearing of the Speedway Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Tim Ramian. I'm the chairman of the BZA, and in attendance this evening, to my left is Steve Jones, our secretary, and one of our members, Janet Fullen. Curtis Miller, our vice president, normally sits right here, but he is out of town. Actually, I think he's out of the state on a family affair for the Labor Day holiday. Also in attendance is our town attorney, Mr. Keenan Wilson, and Eder Lopez, our recording secretary. Eder, has everyone been sworn in? Okay. And I ask everybody to please silence your cell phones or put them on mute. And please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let me go over the rules for this evening. The presenter of the petition, any remonstrators, and any proponents will each have 15 minutes to present evidence. Following their presentations, we will hear a staff report from our representative from Etica. After the staff report, we will allow up to 5 minutes of rebuttal from each petitioner, any remonstrators, and any proponents. This evening, our first item of business will be the approval of the meeting minutes from our July 5th, 2023 meeting. Does any of our members have any questions or comments on it?
No.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved. The next item of business is petition number 2023 DVS 001 for 5604 Meadowood Drive. The petitioner or its representative may approach the podium and state your name and address, please.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Josh Smith. I live at 1904 Winton Avenue, and I work for Rivera Group.
Okay.
We're the firm that Mr. Vasquez and Ms. Gonzalez hired to represent them for this.
Okay. And so go ahead and tell us about the petition that has been filed for Meadowood Drive.
Yeah, so our customer is remodeling and adding on to their home. They plan to live in this house. They want to add on a front porch to the existing house, which is already at the setback, and the front porch is reducing the setback to roughly 18 feet.
Okay.
The required is 25 feet. They want, a nice front porch where they can sit and enjoy the neighborhood and watch kids play and enjoy everything.
Okay. And I remember when I looked at this, there's already, I believe there's like I guess you would call it a stoop there already, and this is just extending, making the porch a little bit bigger, correct?
Yeah, it'll extend the stoop and provide a cover over the top.
And a cover, right.
Very similar to the house across the street. It's just a couple feet closer to the street than the one
Okay.
across the way.
And do any of the members have any questions?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone against a remonstrator or any proponent for this petition that wishes to speak? Okay. Okay, so let's hear from our representative from Etica, please, on the report for this.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mitch Rector, and I am representing Etica Group. We were asked to put together a staff report for this petition for variance, identifying if there were any other standards or ordinances being broken. Our office is at 8720 Castle Creek Parkway, East Drive, Suite 400, up in Castleton in Indianapolis, Indiana, 46250. So the specific variance that's being asked here is in section 744-202, which I have attached, I have attached the graph that section refers to. So as the petitioner said, the front yard setback for a D4 zoning district, which this house lies in, is 25 feet from the sidewalk. The plans that they provided show that the proposed porch is going to come across to an 18-foot front yard setback. So I did not identify any other standards or variances that were needed here. Additionally, there are 2 trees in front of the house right now, so one of the things that we considered was if this porch was going to create any visibility issues to anyone going down the street. We did not think it would. And as the petitioner had also said, there are 2 other houses on this street just across and a couple houses over that also have similar covered porches that breach the setback line. So because we don't think this is going to have any negative impact on visibility or neighborhood aesthetics, it's our recommendation to approve this variance.
Okay. And does anyone have any questions for Mitch?
No.
Okay, no?
No.
Okay, neither do I. So I guess if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion and a second to vote on this petition.
I'll make a motion that we vote on the petition.
Okay. And
I'll second.
you'll second? Okay. All right. I guess we will go ahead and have a vote then on this. We have the ballots? Okay, thank you.
No, let me have one.
Oh. There you go. Mr. Secretary, would you read the results of the vote?
Yes. 3 votes for, 0 against. Your grievance has been, okay.
The variance is passed. Are you the owner? No, you're not. Okay. Well, congratulate the owner and tell them we're glad that they're staying in Speedway and improving their property. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Our next petition is 2023 DVS 002. And will the petitioner or representative approach the podium and state your name and address for the record, please?
Hello, my name is Gary Saracel. I'm the general manager for OMR North America. That's on 4755 Gilman Street, Speedway, Indiana, 46224. I want to just introduce you.
Sure. My name is Chris Hinkle. I'm the engineer on the project. Work for Red Barn Engineering Company, 115 Roundup Trail in Fishers, Indiana, 46038.
And we're here, there's 4 variances because we're trying to expand the facility. Business is growing for us, and we want to stay in Speedway. We love it. Do you want me to state the different variances this time, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have the maximum lot coverage variance, the required parking, the provide interior parking lot, landscaping, and the building perimeter planting. But if I can, just give you a little bit about OMR and us being here.
Sure.
So OMR is a Italy privately owned company that's been in business for over 100 years. We're dealing with the 3rd and 4th generation now, and they have been here. We have 15 manufacturing and casting facilities all over the world, in China, India, Morocco, Brazil, and there's 9 in Italy. 50% of our business is automotive components, 20% is trucks, 20% is heavy equipment, and 10% is recreation. We got about 3,250 employees. The building in Speedway has been here since 2017. When I was here by myself, just with a fold-up chair, table, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Then we started growing and doing great things. We really love being in Speedway. OMR does. I do. My wife does. She's a big fan of Speedway. Got the license plates, the whole 9 yards. so not to influence it. Right now, our business, we just added the first edition a couple of years ago. That was with Stellantis. It was for the front cradle for the Jeep Grand Cherokee. So we're doing that. The original business that we started with was with Rotex. We make engine components for small engines for the three-wheel Riker motorcycle and all-terrain vehicle. We now have a new business from Stellantis to produce the oil pan for the GME T6 engine. It's going to be the Hemi Buster. They're going to do away with the Hemi, and this is going to come in. Very high volume, and that's why we're going after the expansion, because we want to stay in Speedway. We'd love for this to happen. If we don't get the expansion, and it's not a threat or anything, I got to go to Plan B, and I do not want to go to Plan B. We want to stay here.
Okay. And
Sure.
did you want to cover something?
Yeah, can I go ahead and speak to each of the variance requests specifically?
Sure, please.
Okay. The first request deals with the required number of parking spaces. Or actually, let's go in order of which was written in the staff
Okay.
report. The first one deals with the maximum percentage of lot coverage on the site. Obviously, as Gary said, they continue to expand and want to expand to be continue to stay here in Speedway. So we worked with them on not only the initial project, but also the last edition and now this edition. And obviously, in doing such, their facility has kind of outgrown their property from the standpoint of we would exceed that maximum 80% lot coverage that's required. So what we're showing currently, we have about 25,000 square feet of lawn that's shown. So we're about 89% impervious. And not to jump ahead, but one of the concerns with that, the percent impervious deals with drainage and the amount of runoff generated.
Right.
And in seeing the staff report earlier this afternoon, that is something that we could address on site with stormwater detention on site. It's just the level of detail required for this particular submittal for the variance didn't deal with the technical drawings associated with that. So that's something that we would be able to address to basically take it from the 89% impervious that we're showing and reduce that flow rate back down to the 80% impervious that it would be if that were the situation.
Okay.
The second item dealt with the required number of parking spaces. As Gary mentioned, they have 120 employees right now, and that's in 3 separate shifts. And so the number of required parking spaces is 78 per the ordinance, but they don't have that many employees in any single shift, and they don't really need that number of parking spaces. So the parking spaces that we've provided on site for this addition do address their own parking concerns for the facility. But in discussing the project with John Merritt initially, he kind of suggested it might be good to go ahead and get an agreement with one of the surrounding property owners to just say we have the required number of spaces, even if that's in a reciprocal parking agreement with one of the adjacent owners. And I believe Gary has talked with
Indy experienced Scott.
Yeah, to the north.
Okay.
Stefano, so.
Yeah, to be able to say, you know, although we're technically not meeting the ordinance requirements, we do have that agreement in place to be able to supplement that as well.
Could I ask, while we're talking about the topic, because when I read about the findings of fact.
Sure.
Let me see where, you called it the adjoiner to the north of the site, so that's in reference to the Delara, correct? Or at the Delara property, so.
Yep.
Which shift has the most employees on site?
Speak to that.
Yeah, it's going to be the first shift with the most, because you have your support people there.
So are you talking 60 people or more? More,
right.
60? Okay. So they'd be parking, I noticed on the plan, because I looked at this closely because I'm really interested in where you're going to put everybody, but in this proposed parking canopy that's in the back of the building, is there parking there now, or will this be new, or it'll be covered partially
Yes.
covered? Okay. And then other people will park across the street. Will there be any room for anyone else in the back besides? Okay, so there will be.
Yes.
And I know that the town made some additional street parking quite a few years ago, and I know that there's really no people that use that parking on the street, except I noticed when I'm taking a walk that there are cars parked there, which I think is great that they're being used, and I'm assuming they either work for you or for maybe one of the other businesses.
So they have, our people will park there. Sometimes they don't want to get their steps.
I can relate. Okay.
So they'll park there.
Okay.
And we have worked with Scott before. Scott's like, yeah, you can park anytime you want, that type of thing.
Okay.
We would set up a formal.
Right. I would think that would only be a problem if there was some kind of event on Main Street that maybe they would come to you then say, we need that parking for.
And our parking is open for events, so during the 500 and stuff.
Okay.
The high school, we open up our lot, they can collect money for contributions.
Okay.
So we're all about, staying here and staying in the town.
Okay. Well, did you have any questions about parking?
I don't.
Okay. Did you have any questions about the
No.
parking?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, if you want to go on to the next
Sure.
variance then.
Sure. The next request was for the interior parking lot landscaping.
Okay.
And that deals with, in the ordinance, it says if you have 15 or more parking spaces that are uncovered vehicle spaces, you have to provide interior parking lot landscaping. And so technically in the back of the building is what we're referring to here, where we have 27 parking spaces. Although technically 14 of them are under that canopy. So we're really under the requirement that's necessary, but we figured since it was kind of close, we might as well go ahead and ask for the variance anyway, because we didn't want to have to put a landscape island back there in the middle of the parking area that we're showing. Instead, we were showing additional landscaping on the north side of that parking area, which is the south side of the building, as well as along the fence along the south side of the property. So basically moving the landscaping that would be required inside in that internal parking to the exterior of that internal parking area.
And then am I seeing some additional landscaping along the west side,
Yes,
along
and
that
that's
driveway?
The item number 4.
Okay.
The building perimeter plantings, there's required to have a 10-foot green space around the perimeter of the building. And on the north side, what we ended up with the original construction and the first addition was a 5 or 6 foot strip along the north side of the building. And so what we're proposing to do here is to continue that. And then on the south side of the building, we have a loading dock, as well as a drive-in dock door. And then we have a landscape area over there. So really the concern here is on the west side, where instead of showing 10 feet, we're proposing to do that 5-foot strip. And exactly what you said, what we're proposing to do is instead of having the minimum required landscaping along there, we've beefed up the landscaping, not only in that 5-foot strip, but also on the perimeter of the site along the west edge.
Okay.
To add a couple of trees and to add a couple of shrubs along there as well.
Okay. Is that?
More than enough.
Okay. So that addresses all of the variance items then, right?
That does.
Do you have any questions about landscaping,
I do not.
Janet?
I do
or-
not.
No, I'm following right along here.
Okay.
Sure that-
And we can, obviously, we can have the staff report, and then we can follow that as well if you have additional questions.
We just got the report 5 hours ago.
Okay. I do have a question, and this probably would be a naive question, but I know I just have to ask it. I've assumed that with this taking up more space with this new addition, you've already calculated that semi-trucks will be able to negotiate either side of the east and the west side of the property to come in and leave, right? Okay. It just looks so narrow there, but I know I'm looking at a reduced picture of the property, but.
Yeah, there's enough room on both sides. Really, the area where they maneuver now is being moved. Instead of on the west side is where the loading docks were for, let me get this right. That's where they drop off. That's where you guys have receiving, is on the west side of the building currently?
We have receiving on the.
Or is that on the south side?
I'm trying to get my. Daredevil is on the north side, right?
It's on the west side.
West side. Daredevil is west, and,
So
Yeah.
that's my variance there. So west side is receiving, And then on the
Southeast, yeah.
southeast side, it's shipping.
So the shipping will stay on the southeast and the receiving will move to the southwest. So really the south side of the building is where the truck maneuvering will happen, as
Okay,
it does currently.
okay. Do any of the other members have questions, either related or?
Just one.
Okay.
So with the building addition, are you anticipating increasing your staff?
We are.
Could you come to the microphone, please?
Yes, there'll be some increase in the staff, but it would be per shift. It's going to be more technical because it's going to be a lot of automated with this with the oil pan. So I would say it's going to be about 8 times 3. So what's
Eight.
that? 8 people times
okay.
3 shifts.
Oh, per shift?
Per shift?
Okay,
Okay,
that's great.
We're going
Alright.
to try to automate it.
yeah,
Okay, Thank
We're-
you.
We're pretty excited about it.
yeah.
okay.
All right, thanks.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, Steve, okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. And so, are there any remonstrators or proponents in attendance to this proposal? Okay. Next, then, I'll ask a representative from Etica to give our report.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mitch Rector. I'm from Etica Group at 8720 Castle Creek Parkway East Drive, Suite 400 in Indianapolis.
Okay, you don't need to repeat that part.
Eder said I should,
No,
just for the record, but I just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to be repeating a lot of what Mr. Saracel said.
Okay,
And I just want to provide, I guess, a little bit of reasoning for what I was looking for here. So I did find that these 4 standards are the correct standards that a variance of this kind would be needed for, and there weren't any others that were left out, at least not that I could find. So firstly, talking about the 60% to 80% lot area covered by impervious surfaces. Now, based on some rough takeoffs from the plans that were provided, I was coming up with approximately 95% impervious coverage for the proposed site. Obviously, this creates runoff concerns and concerns with how that's going to radiate heat back up. But I know, I apologize. I don't believe I caught your name. Chris.
Mr. Hinkle,
Yes. But I know Mr. Hinkle was talking about providing a more detailed report. And I want to stress that this is not meant to be a full city stormwater review. This is just as these things are referenced in the zoning ordinance manual.
okay.
But if he were able to provide a little bit more detail on water detention and I guess plans for how that's going to be addressed, then I could see waiving some of these questions.
Okay,
Nextly is the concerns about parking for the site. Now, I've included some information from the actual zoning manual on these back pages if you want to see how some of these calculations are pulled. But for a warehouse-type site, it does ask for 1 parking space for every 1,500 square feet of warehouse, which does create need if this expansion were approved for additional parking. Now, there is a separate section right after this parking section in 108E5B4 that I neglected to include, but it does mention sharing parking and does have factors that can get applied between 2 businesses if they agree to share parking spaces. So if Delara were able to provide, I'm not sure what the board would require for this, but some sort of letter stating that you're willing to share property, then I could see that possibly getting waived as well. Furthermore, regarding the interior landscaping ordinance and the minimum planting area ordinance, a lot of this goes back to the same question of the impervious areas. It's just a matter of creating more green space to make sure that water has somewhere to go, and to kind of make the site look nice. I know the existing front facade of the building, it does have about a 5 to 6 foot planer strip in front of it rather than the 10 foot. So obviously the expansion would be trying to match that to avoid any sort of discontinuity in the building. But at least on the side, I believe it's only a 5 foot. I understand extending that to a full 10 foot would then create issues with having a road that's too narrow, since you had already touched on difficulties for semis. So again, the original intent of these ordinances is to keep the space appropriately green and minimize how stormwater is going to stand on the site. If there's any sort of other information that can be provided about the plan for that, or if anything can be shifted geometric-wise to possibly try and extend these as much as you can, then I would entertain approving this variance, but just based on the 4 plan sheets that were provided and these questions, my original recommendation would be to deny.
Okay.
But if these can get addressed, and I think they are all somewhat, or if at least half of them could be, then I could foresee recommending approval.
Okay, do you have any questions for Mitch?
No, I think.
Do you?
No.
Okay, so I think you answered my questions. I understand the ordinance and concerns about, let's see, where was it? Mitigating a heat island, but, you know, frankly, when you're talking about an industrial area, which that area is zoned as industrial, it is expanding the size, but there was already an impervious lot there before, so they're adding a building. To me, it's almost...
Well, this does eliminate 2 green areas that were set on the west side of the building.
Okay.
So it does ultimately reduce the green space of
Okay.
the property.
But along with that thought, though, if it was in a different part of the town of Speedway, that might be a bigger concern. But based on where it is right now, in my opinion, I just don't know if that's as much of a concern to say that we shouldn't allow this too, but...
I understand. And again, this was not meant to be a full stormwater review or analysis.
I understand.
That would presumably come later.
Okay. Right, because I know the town does have meetings with builders about stormwater and all of that and drainage when building does start. Did you have anything
No.
else? No? Okay, thank you, Mitch. Okay, are there any other remonstrators or proponents? Okay. Or did you want to come back?
Oh, yes,
please.
about that?
Yes.
I neglected to mention this earlier about the drainage, because we do have to get our building permit from Speedway.
Correct.
And they will review site drainage, they'll review site landscaping. They will review all these things before we get a final permit. When we originally talked with Grant and John Merritt about the project, we said we understand what we're doing is exceeding the code requirements, and therefore we understand we'll have to get variances for that.
Right.
It's just a matter of we're going to try to address those as best we can. And they said, great, go get the variances, then send us the final plans. We'll review that, make sure that it's in line with the variances, and then we'll go ahead and give you guys the permit. So that's kind of where we're at with the project. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the storm drainage issue, obviously Alison transmission was there a long time ago.
Right.
You know, the site is paved with the loading docks currently, like you mentioned.
Well, but times were different then, too.
I understand that a lot, too. The storm drainage that was master planned and was set up within Gilman Street
Right.
for these expansions and things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that we do have to get additional permits after we come and talk to you guys for those detailed design drawings.
And is it Sarasol? Yes. Okay. I keep wanting to say Sarasale, but Sarasol.
He's not that Italian.
Oh, is it? Okay. Could you come to the podium? And Mr. Hinkle, stay there too. So if we if we get an agreement that we would receive a letter of intent with Delara or Indy Racing Experience for the parking, and then, I don't know, more plans about the water retention or runoff, would you be agreeable to provide that if this is approved? Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's what I was going to ask them.
Okay, you were going to ask,
We're good.
that's why we get along
Yeah.
so well. Janet, you have, okay, thank you for your.
One
Yes.
other thing, a question I have is, do we have to wait another month if we hand this stuff in
Another,
for approval?
Or would you guys be able to do a contingent upon us providing that information to you? Or
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you can approve it contingent.
Well,
Okay.
we would state that we would approve with a contingency of those two items.
Okay, fair enough.
And-
Right.
Yeah, we're happy to provide those. And
Yes.
again, we
Okay.
do have to go back and get actual building permits. And
Of course.
Site development, site improvement permits and things like that too. So,
Okay,
yeah, that'd follow up with that as well.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. So then if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion in the second to vote on this petition.
I'll make a motion to vote on this petition, okay,
Okay.
I'll second.
No second, okay, I have a motion and a second. You want to,
yes. No, I think we have all four of these on the one page, okay?
we do, okay.
I think so. So you,
Yes, they're all, okay. Right, so on our vote, this will be voting for all four of
Yes.
the variances. Okay.
okay. Okay, 3-4-0 against for 2023 DVS 002.
Okay, thank you, it's approved.
Yep.
And Eder will be working with us to get the letter signed, a signed letter to you. Okay, we look forward to you staying in Speedway.
Yes.
We love it here.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, we have petition 2023 DVS 003. And if the petitioner, please approach the podium and state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Brandy Bergen. This is my son, Paul Bergen. We live at 1911 Alison Avenue
Okay,
in Speedway. And this home of ours has been in the family for 100 years. Literally this year, 100 years.
Wow.
And this is the fourth generation living in that home. His great-grandpa, Paul Bergen, same name, purchased the home in 1923. So we are here. His great-grandpa was so wise and bought both empty lots next to the house. So
Okay.
we live on 3 lots. And our house is in the center lot. And we're requesting a variance for a new proposed garage at the end of our driveway. The proposed garage has more square footage than the home, and so we are asking for a variance. What I have learned is that the zoning requirement is that the minimum be 60% of our lot be open, remain open after the building. With the proposed building, it would still leave 79% of it open.
okay.
We just want extra spaces to park at the end of our driveway.
Okay, let me look here at I was looking at I guess, almost the last, not the last page, but it was this picture of the elevation. So is the building higher than your home?
No, it is a foot shorter than our
A
home.
foot shorter?
Yes.
That's good. Well, it's good in the sense that it's not going to be like looming over the horizon behind,
Yes.
when you look at your house, okay. And it's going to have, so there's going to be just one garage door?
There's going to be 3 garage doors. The
Okay.
one that goes from the driveway into the garage will be a double
A double, okay, door, okay.
for this fella and little brother when they start driving.
Okay.
And then in the back, it's a very small, like the smallest garage door we could get, so we can fit a lawnmower through it to mow the back next to the
Is that
alley.
the 8x8 garage door that they're showing on here? Okay.
Yes, and then the other garage door opens into our other empty lot so that we can open it up and have the kids running in and out and bikes and sports and.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's 4 windows going in? Yeah,
Yes.
4 windows going into, okay.
And a person door next to that.
I see that a standard, yeah, also known as a standard door, right? Okay. And do you have any questions, Janet?
Just to verify, it's not for like an automotive shop or a workshop, it's just personal use then?
That's a
Personal
good
use.
question.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. It's for your personal use, basically, and, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And Steve, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple when we
Okay.
get to the building itself.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, did you have anything else that you wanted to add, or, okay.
Okay, so this building is constructed of metal framing,
Yes.
okay? So it's like a pole building, but with metal framing,
Correct.
okay?
So that's as opposed to a wood frame building, correct? Okay,
Well, so your foundation here is not really a foundation, right? It's really a slab
It's a
poured.
slab, and then around the perimeter, they put rebar and a 12 by 12 footer.
Okay,
It's what the builder recommended. And so we met with Mattingly Concrete, sent them over all of the information from the builder, and this is what they felt was best for the structure.
okay, so it's not really a, like I said, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but it's not really a footing, because a footing needs to be a lot deeper. So when you tell me it's 12 inches wide and 12 inches deep, that's what your footing is? Okay,
That is what they told me, yes.
all right.
but for purposes of this petition, we're dealing with the house, I mean, the garage being larger than the
Right.
property.
Right.
So they will still have to go through building permits where they will, if there's any issues with constructions, they will definitely cover those with you that might have to be modified. I understand your questions,
Yeah,
but
just trying
we
to
have
figure
to
out-
remember what we're
I know.
what we're actually voting on today, okay?
Okay, so your building size is 34 by 60,
Yes.
okay? And your house is how many square feet?
It is 1,368 square feet.
That's on the first page.
All right,
At the bottom there, it talks
Okay.
about,
so the garage is almost double.
but I know we've seen that in Speedway
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
a lot, where
Or
some of the...
600 square feet more.
I guess,
It's a
all
large
right.
lot, it's a large lot also.
And-
It's a triple lot, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a triple lot.
Yeah.
79% of the lot would remain,
Right.
Grass or
yeah, green space.
greenery, yes, yeah.
But the reality, again, of the changing times is that homes were not built that large.
No.
And they never built garages to accommodate the vehicles anyway, so, I mean, we've seen this before anyway, so. Were there any other questions? No. Okay. Are there any opponents or proponents that also want to address this? Okay. All right, any other questions then for the petitioner? Okay, thank you. And then, Mr. Mitchell, you want to come up and give the staff report? Please.
All righty. Hello, everyone, again. This is the staff report for 2023 DVS 003 at 1911 Alison Ave. So I looked at the property card on the Map Indy website. I suppose I'll dive right into that. And what I thought was kind of interesting is that, well, the current building, as enclosed by the building's walls, is about 1,300 square feet. There's two paved patios that both have, I believe, permanent roofing attached to the building, measuring an additional 322 and 243 square feet. So when I went back to the, let's see, to chapter 740-303A, it talks about including the area covered by permanent overhang with the building area. And it also has further definitions for covered open space as the horizontal area of all exterior space within the lot that is open and exposed to weather, but not open above to the sky and not used for vehicles. And also further clarifies that the open space is just for uncovered open space, so these porches would not negatively affect this.
Okay.
So if we take the 1,300 square feet for just the internal part of the house and still include the permanent roofing attached to it, it does raise the square footage, or the horizontal land area, I should say, to about 2,000 square feet. Which would be a lot closer to the proposed garage size. So we felt, based on that, and since the structure also meets other setback standards and the building height is not exceeded, that we would recommend approving this variance.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe the last page may have been left off on what I was printed.
I beg your pardon?
My copy of the report may have left off my last page. Yes, we would recommend approving the variance.
Okay. All right. Janet, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Steve? No? Okay, there's no further questions. Thank you.
No.
And, okay, I'd like to hear a motion for a vote.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote then.
Okay. I think there's two there, Jim.
Oh, yeah, there are. Okay. If you'll read the results,
Sure.
please.
Okay, 3 votes for, 0 against for 2023 DVS 003.
Okay, it's approved. Congratulations. Go build your garage. See, this is how civic government works. You come and ask questions. You came well prepared, though. Thank you for all your detail that you provided, and I hope you enjoy that.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks.
And mow a lot of lawns for your mom, okay? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, then, is there any business this evening to come before the board? Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, then, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:44 PM.